I'm Clara, and I've been tied to Henry for over 16 years, married in a Colorado haze of youthful dreams. We met at college, a story spun sweet for reunions, his charm sharp, his ambition a fire that warmed me. I was quiet, steady, craving stability. We balanced each other, or so it seemed. At 25, I was a bride too young, maybe, and Henry, 27, all drive and promises. Early years were a blur of cheap apartments, student loans, ramen dinners, and bickering over dishes. Love held us then, or I thought it did. By our late 30s, the spark dimmed. Henry climbed the finance ladder while I gave up teaching to raise Lila and Jack, our kids. I told myself staying home was noble, that being there for them trumped any paycheck. But I didn't see it creeping in the slow loss of myself. Days bled together, morning chaos, packed lunches, school runs, grocery lists, late-night dinners. Henry's business trips and board meetings swallowed him. Our talks shrank to updates. Hugs turned mechanical, intimacy faded into the weight of routine. I don't fully blame him. We both let the gap widen. What cut deepest was feeling unseen. Last spring, everything shifted. Wyatt, the neighbor's son, moved back to the house 2 doors down in our quiet Denver street. I remembered him as a wiry kid, always kicking a soccer ball or racing bikes with the neighborhood pack. He left for college in California at 18, and we barely heard of him until his mom passed and he returned at 25 to care for his ailing dad. The first time I saw him again, he was unloading a U-Haul, tall, broad-shouldered, with a confidence that caught me off guard. I was trimming the front hedge sweat on my brow when he grinned. "Mrs. Harper," I laughed. "Don't you dare. That makes me feel ancient." He flashed a wide smile. "Sorry, Clara." That's how it started. A smile, a name, a spark reignited. Weeks passed, and Wyatt became a constant. He mowed his dad's lawn, walked their dog Reed on their porch. Our chats were neighborly, at first weather trash pickup gripes, but by midsummer they stretched longer, heavier. One afternoon I wrestled a broken sprinkler in the backyard, Henry away as usual. I didn't want to call a plumber for something so small, but frustration burned. Wyatt noticed from his porch and strolled over. "Need a hand?" I hesitated, then nodded. "This thing's been mocking me for 20 minutes. He knelt beside me, focused, patient, a faint smirk at my annoyance. In minutes, the sprinkler hummed. "There," he said, brushing dirt off his hands. "Not so tough." I laughed sharp. "Easy for you to say." Something shifted, then subtle but electric, the air charged when he was near. Wyatt's presence grew heavier. He waved when I gardened, lingered in chats, asked about my day with real care. I started to crave those moments, his attention waking something I'd buried. I baked extra cookies for him, and his dad glanced at his porch on walks. It wasn't romance, not yet, but it wasn't just kindness either. It was him seeing me, not just what I did for others. Late August, everything changed. The kids were at a friend's, and I sat on the porch with iced tea, half reading. Wyatt approached, papers in hand. "Mind helping with this?" He was applying to grad schools, wanted feedback on his personal essay. I felt honored, remembering he knew I'd taught English before staying home. We talked for over an hour, his goals, his dreams, my old life. He leaned back. "You should still be teaching, Clara. You're too sharp to stay cooped up." His words hit hard, unguarded. "It's been years," I said. "I wouldn't know where to start." "You'd be great," he said, earnest, his eyes seeing something I'd forgotten. That night I couldn't sleep. His voice echoing, his gaze burning, not pity, not politeness, but raw admiration. We saw each other more. He'd stop by with his dog, ask about my garden, bring a book he thought I'd like. Always a reason and excuse, but we both knew better. No lines were crossed, not physically, but emotions blurred faster than I expected. One evening, watching the sunset in my backyard, he spoke softly. "You seem lonely sometimes." I froze, wanting to deny it, but couldn't. Sometimes, I admitted. He nodded his eyes, sad, yet knowing. "You deserve more than being someone's sidekick, Clara." His words haunted me, ringing as I cooked folded laundry, sat alone in the quiet house after the kids slept. Was this the life I chose, or one I settled for? Henry noticed my shift, but brushed it off, too buried in work emails, deadlines. He'd ask if I was okay, but it was perfunctory. I'd say I was tired. He'd nod and scroll his phone. Wyatt, though listened, made me feel vital. I wasn't planning to leave or betray. I was just lost, and he made me feel found. But I knew I was walking a tightrope, one misstep, and it could all collapse. I told myself it was harmless, just friendship, but deep down, I knew it wouldn't stay that way. Days blurred in quiet turmoil. I questioned everything, what I was doing, how it looked, what it meant. Technically, I'd done nothing wrong, but my heart knew I was inching toward a line I couldn't uncross. I saw Wyatt less, kept my distance, told myself it was for the best. I needed to focus on Henry, the kids, the life I'd built. I thought routine would burn off my feelings like fog in sunlight. But emotions don't vanish on command, and distance only sharpened the ache. Wyatt respected my space. His waves, shorter, smiles smaller, but our eyes still met across fences, heavy with unspoken understanding. At home, Henry worked late, slept in the guest room, citing back pain or better sleep. I didn't argue. The distance between us had grown so slowly it felt almost normal, but it wasn't. The kids, Lila at 10, Jack at 8, stayed blissfully unaware, lost in homework and weekend plans. I kept up appearances, lunches, school projects, cheering at Lila's soccer games, Jack's piano recitals, but inside I was unraveling. One night, Henry came home near midnight. I sat on the couch, book open unturned, for 20 minutes. His keys clinked on the counter. "Sorry, long day," he said. I nodded. "You've had a lot of those." He sat across, rubbing his eyes. "I know. New clients are a nightmare." Silence stretched, vast and cold, filled with unspoken things. "Ever feel like we're just roommates?" I asked, voice smaller than I meant. He looked up, startled. "What? We're just living, Clara, doing what we do. Where'd this come from?" I knew exactly where. "I miss talking," I said. He paced. "What do you want me to say?" "Sorry, I'm tired. Should I quit and sit on the porch all day?" His words stung, dismissive. "I'm not asking for everything," I said softly, "just to feel seen." His face flickered guilt, defense, but he left the room. That night, staring at the ceiling, Wyatt's voice filled my mind, his listening, his care, never making me feel too much. Next day, I went through motions, errands, cleaning, dinner prep. By afternoon, I was trimming bushes near the fence, not entirely by chance. Wyatt sat on his porch, headphones on, sketching. My heart twitched. I waved, hesitant. He looked up, smiled, removed his headphones. "Hey, stranger." I smiled back. "Hey." He walked over, stopping a few feet away. "You've been scarce." "Just clearing my head," I said, tucking hair behind my ear. He nodded. "Helping? Not sure." A long pause hung, not awkward but heavy with the unsaid. "Want a walk?" he asked suddenly. I nodded against my better judgment. We walked in silence, at first fall air, crisp, the sky streaked with sunset. Leaves crunched underfoot, the world still in a way that invited thought. He spoke first. "You're not crazy." I glanced at him. "For what? For feeling invisible. For wanting more than routine." I exhaled, my breath visible in the cool air. Sometimes I feel like I'm standing in my own life and no one sees me." He stopped, turned to me. "I see you." The words hung simple, honest, dangerous. My throat tightened, eyes stung. I looked away, hiding the rush of emotion. He didn't push, just stood there giving me what I hadn't felt in years' presence. That night, I sat on my bed's edge and cried. Not for wrongdoings, but because my heart was drifting and I didn't know how to stop it. Weeks followed, thick with tension. I tried avoiding Wyatt, but the pull was stronger now, undeniable. He never crossed lines, never touched me, but our connection was a taut thread ready to snap. One afternoon, he left a book on my porch, a novel we'd discussed. A note inside read, "When the world's too loud, you deserve quiet." I sat, book on my lap, staring at his handwriting, feeling my walls crumble faster than I could rebuild. I started journaling again, a habit from college. I poured out confusion, guilt, longing, fear, my life, the woman I'd become. One truth kept rising. I was in an emotional affair with someone not my husband. Not physical, but betrayal all the same. I'd stepped outside my marriage's lines. One night with the kids at their grandparents', Henry and I ate in near silence. It could have been a chance to reconnect, but we were worlds apart. Silverware clinked, the only sound. I stood at the sink, washing dishes, staring out at the street. Wyatt walked his dog under the streetlights. Our eyes met, and everything hit possibility, guilt, the ache of a life not mine. I turned away, heart pounding, gripping the counter until my knuckles whitened. I had to choose. Whatever came next wasn't accidental, it was deliberate. I went upstairs, sat across from Henry, his eyes on his phone. "We need to talk," I said. He looked up, weary. "About what, us?" "Everything." Words caught in my throat, years of silence piling up. "I don't feel alive," I said finally. "I'm existing, going through motions, and I can't anymore." He stared, uncertain. "You saying you want out? I don't know," I said honestly. "Something's gotta change." He sat, exhaled slowly. "You're not happy?" "No," I admitted. "And I don't think you are either." No fight, no slammed doors, just two people facing the void between them. I didn't mention Wyatt, not yet. That would come later. I needed to know myself first. But one thing was clear, this story wasn't over. Days followed in reflection. I kept distance from both Henry and Wyatt, not out of anger, but necessity. I needed clarity. I walked early mornings, sat in quiet library corners, wrote in my journal. For the first time in years, I faced myself honestly, admitting my loneliness, the pain of a silent marriage. Wyatt was a mirror showing what I lacked, but not the answer. One quiet afternoon, I knocked on Wyatt's door. He looked surprised, but stayed silent as I handed him a letter. "Read it later," I said softly. "I need to rebuild myself, not through anyone else, but for me." I walked away. That night, Henry and I sat at the kitchen table. I told him the truth, not every detail, but enough. He listened, truly listened, for the first time in years. We talked not as strangers, but as two people deciding what future we could rebuild, if any. I didn't choose Wyatt. I chose healing, and in it I found myself again.